Hey, what's going on? It's Pika. I'm out here in Singapore and it is Thursday night. Actually, this time it's technically Friday morning. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning here, but this episode is meant for Thursday, December 14th. Yeah, man, this year is running by. We have about 3 weeks left for the end of the year, and that's it. Today was pretty simple. The usual get up in the morning, go to school, go to work, and then come back home. I actually had two events this morning though. My event was at 9 o'clock this morning where I did a live training in a Facebook group, and the topic there was failure. We talked about failure. So the things that I talked about with y'all last night, I actually trained on this morning. And then after that, we had the first of the 12 days of manifesting miracles. I think I mentioned it yesterday to you. So our group, starting with our CEO, is doing 12 days of live trainings on Facebook and on Instagram. And basically what we're trying to do is teach people how to get in touch with spirit, align themselves with source, and learn how to manifest a little bit. And even if you don't believe in that kind of thing, it's still a good practice because it's akin to meditation. It's basically quieting all your crazy thoughts that go on in your head and trying to focus on the things you do want instead of don't want. Even if you don't manifest anything, even if you don't believe enough to like get to where, the things we're talking about as far as quantum physics and actually, connecting with source energy, you still develop a lot of really good habits. You still learn to be very positive. You learn to be focused. You learn to get rid of all that negativity in your life. Okay? So it's not a bad thing. You can believe in it to the level that you are comfortable, basically. And as you get more and more comfortable, maybe you'll reach further, or you're content to stay where you are. And that's okay too. But either way, the practices that we're trying to teach here are very practical and useful whether you create or not. So I'd love it if you would, join in. The next post that you see from me will give you another link to be able to join in. It's all free for the next 12 days until Christmas Eve, basically. And I'd love for you to join in. I'm actually presenting in another 2 days, and I'll be talking about gratitude. So, very practical advice, I promise. A lot of people think that this is all mumbo jumbo, it's all hocus pocus, magic, blah blah blah. It's not. It's not. It really is the power of your thoughts at work. Okay, so that was today. Pretty simple. Got to work and ended up doing I ended up doing P4 math. Now, I'm not bragging or anything, but I've been through my fair share of education. And when I saw this math concept with models here in Singapore, I was lost and super embarrassed about it. I mean, I don't know how to draw a model and then solve algebra questions, especially the way they're worded here. So, yeah, and I was super shocked when some of the questions that I was looking at were meant with first grade. I was like, damn, I don't think my daughter's ready for all this. I don't even know how to answer this stuff. How am I supposed to do this? So I definitely went through some practice today, and then eventually went on to practice the slide presentations for our sales pitch. So that was the work day. Got back home and cooked. I made a quesadilla pasta. I kind of adapted the recipe and turned it into pasta instead. And basically it's tomatoes and black beans, sausage, corn, yeah, and then pasta. So the way it ends up tasting is very much like, a burrito or whatever, but I made it into pasta so it's easy and more fun for the baby girl to eat. So that was dinner. We had dinner, we took a shower, I put her to bed, I read her a book. Enid Blyton is my favorite author for young children, and it's something I grew up with, something I grew up reading, so I actually read her a story from there and put her to sleep. I slept as well. I was in bed by about 9 something when I put her to sleep, and I've been asleep for a little while. I just woke up, which is why my voice is kind of, I don't know, husky, cranny. I don't know what to call it. Sounds weird. But I've been thinking a lot about spirituality, and I want to talk to you about the struggles that I've faced as far as spirituality is concerned. I've been spiritual all my life. I wouldn't consider myself religious. I'm more spiritual, to be honest. And the way I approach decisions, the way I approach people, I believe is more, it's more spiritual in nature. But honestly, there is a major struggle. Now, something Gary Vaynerchuk said today, it was one of his little video pieces that he posts on Instagram. And he was talking about, you know why I'm nice to so many people, or I like so many people? It's because I don't have any expectations of them. I don't want anything for them. I know that all of us are going to make it. It's not a big deal. I'm not in competition by any means, but he basically says he doesn't have any expectations of anyone. And therefore, he cannot be disappointed by anyone. And therefore, he has no difficulty being nice or liking everyone. On the same vein, I was talking to my aunt in Houston today, and she was talking about attachment and how that's her next big thing that she wants to accomplish. Now, this woman is very spiritual, very humble, lives to serve, and for her to say that she wants to learn more about attachment, or detachment for that matter, got me thinking. So let's talk about this lack of expectations, which helps you to go through life and not be so disappointed or held by, people's opinions of you, or how they react to you, how they treat you, or whatever. It's been a point of contention for me for a long time. I don't expect things from people that I am consciously aware of. But that isn't to say that I don't get disappointed when things don't go the way I think they should go. Now, that's not meaning that I'm being selfish or I'm being controlling, that I want it to be a certain way. Obviously, every one of us has our idea of if you do A, then B will happen, right? And a lot of times, people treat relationships like business. If I give you this, then you should do this for me, right? I'm beyond the, I'll give you something and I expect something in return, but the way we treat each other, that makes a difference to me, and I do get carried away or disappointed with the way people treat me in return after I've treated them a certain way. I do still get upset when, how do I explain this? I do still get upset when I'm talking to people or giving them my all, and even if it's of just a relationship or a friendship or whatever, and I feel like maybe they're not listening well, maybe they don't take me seriously, maybe they don't treat me with respect. That still disappoints me sometimes. Let me give you an example. Honestly speaking, anyone that comes into my life, and for the most part, all of you who are part of my life know this for a fact. If you've actually interacted with me, you know this for a fact. If you come to me and you tell me you're hurting, you're upset, you're in trouble of some kind, I'm going to do whatever I can to help you. And a lot of times it's not going to be in a monetary form. Most times it's going to be more of a support situation. I will support you. I will listen to you. I will try my best to understand the situation from all sides and then give you sound advice, or at least I think it's sound, so that you can take the situation in stride. I do that because I love you. I do that because it's the right thing to do. I do that because that's what I would expect anyone else to do for me if I were ever to come to them for help. And one day I will. But for some reason, I find that while people are very readily able to take from you, they're not always able to give back in any way. And no, I'm not saying I'm giving you advice, so you better give me advice in return. What I'm saying is, once you know that this is the kind of person I am, I would love it if you would be ready to do the same, instead of forever coming to me and asking for something. There are some people out there that are content to suck your energy. I don't know if it's because they consciously know this. I don't know if they do this because I couldn't even begin to imagine. I don't know why they do this, but there have been certain people in my life who have always been content to come to me with their hands out. Always, always, always. Any conversation that starts off with, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while, how are you doing, will turn into, oh my God, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. That's fine, and that tells me a lot about where you are in life, and I'm happy to help you out. But some people, they have a problem for every solution you have. And I guess I expect for people to be a little bit more open-minded, and that's where my problems start. I expect, and I shouldn't. So when Gary Vaynerchuk says stuff like, you know what, I like everyone. I have no problem with people because I don't need you. I don't need you to do anything for me. I don't want anything from you. I'm just content to be there for you. That's where I want to be. That's like the next level. That's where I want to get to next. Right now, I'm still attached to the way you feel about me, the way you treat me as a result. And that's part of what Rajmami was talking about today. She and I have a lot of the same characteristics. I get attached very easily. As in, if we fall into a routine of talking every day, I'm going to get attached. And if I don't hear from you after a certain period of time, for some reason, out of the blue, and you haven't managed my expectations, if you like suddenly just disappear off the face of the earth for a couple of days and you haven't told me what's going on, you don't let me know, hey, I got to go do this, but you disappear, my imagination goes to work. And obviously I imagine, oh my God, this happened to you, or you hate me, or whatever it is. I am attached to you. I am attached to the idea of you being in my life a certain time every day. I am attached to the connection that we have. So for me, that's another part of the spiritual journey. How do I detach from that expectation of you? How do I learn to not hold on to you so tightly? I think it's best for my relationships if I learn how to be excited when you do come into my life, but not be devastated when you disappear. I think that's difficult for me. I think that's something I'm really struggling with. And that's what I'm talking about, the struggle. This is a spiritual struggle. It's not about work. It's not about business. It's not about, how to take care of people. It's how do I take care of me so that I don't slowly disappear with everything that I give people? How do I make sure that I am still whole no matter what comes my way? How do I make sure that I am always able to offer help? You can't give from an empty vessel, right? And with that saying, you tend to think that, okay, well, if I give of myself, someone has to pour into me. Yeah, that'd be great. Oh my God, that would be amazing. If people could do unto others, really, wow. But that's not the reality we live in. That's not the reality at all. Every man for himself. I'm going to take care of me because I don't believe that there's enough for all of us to have. I don't trust anyone else, so I'm going to take wherever I can. That's basically the mentality you encounter out there. Now, there are a few of us that are awake, that see life in a different perspective, that see that, if we don't speak life into other people, if we don't share the love, if we don't show them, if we don't teach them, basically where this Manifesting Miracles workshop is coming from is, teaching you that you control the world around you simply by your thoughts. And then your actions and your words are extensions of those thoughts. And if you put them out into the universe, they're going to attract whatever it is that you put out into the universe. So be careful, basically. For me, it's a step further. Yeah, I can watch my thoughts. I can change my thoughts. I can be careful of what I'm talking about. I can be careful of what I'm doing. I think twice before I do anything. But where I screw up is I hope too much. I expect too much. And honestly, what I'm expecting is really not that much, but it's still too much because I'm still disappointed. I'm still waiting on some kind of a return from you, and that's not fair to you. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you, hey, I'm going to do this, but you need to do this for me in return. That's not what I'm saying, and that's never what I would tell you. But I'm hoping that if I lead by example, that you might pick up on what I'm doing and maybe do the same. And even that is an expectation. Even that is an attachment to something. I think I've talked to you before, like, all right, well, if I'm attached or detached or whatever, does that mean I care less about that person? No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. It sounds really, like something a sannyasi would say, but it isn't. I want to get to that level that Abraham Hicks talks about, I am happy. I'm grateful. I'm comfortable. I'm loving. I am at peace. Nothing anyone does or says can take that from me. My happiness is not dependent upon you. Because one thing she says very clearly is, if your happiness is dependent upon somebody else, if their being happy makes you happy, and that's the dependency there, then them being upset will make you upset. Correct? So those are the things that I'm worried about. Those are the things I think about a lot. How do I get to a place where I am not attached to my idea of what you should behave like? How do I get to a place where I'm not attached to where your position is in my life? How do I not miss you when you disappear for a little while? And maybe that sounds heartless and cold, but I feel like it's a way to protect myself. And it's also a way for me to learn not to focus on the lack of you being there, but to focus on being excited when you are, to attract more of that instead with my thoughts instead of focusing what I don't have. I was just talking to Gayatri about this the other day. She can have 100 toys in front of her, but she'll focus on the one that she knows is not working well or is broken. And then she tends to complain. Now, she's only 6. I'm trying really hard now to teach her not to complain about everything. And sure, it's a Singaporean thing to do. Sure, it's a mentality that all her classmates grow up with, but that doesn't mean she should be the same as them. Not if she can see clearly, and not if she can see around the situation like I do. And for the most part, she does. But yes, it's a habit. This little girl was a super, super happy child growing up. After my maid came into our lives, she started complaining about stuff. Why? Because she spent the most time with the maid, and the maid complained about everything. It's just the way it is. She also copped a really Indian accent that's, she picks up everything. She's a kid. She goes to school, and she finds that all the kids complain. And all the kids, are expecting that she can give something to them without thinking that they should give unto her. This notion of kids going to school on their own birthdays and bringing presents for all the other kids, I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. Now, I don't mind making food to share with the rest of the class so that they all get to celebrate a little bit. But when the other kids come up to me as the parent is like, where's my present? And I'm like, whoa, wait, I'm sorry, what? That's a problem. I don't like that. Who teaches your kids that, yo? Like, seriously, where's your present? And honestly, I turned around and asked that child, whose birthday is it? And he very happily said, oh, it's your daughter's birthday. Oh, well then, where's her present? Huh? Yeah, I don't like that idea. I can't obviously change the way people are doing things, but I can do what I think is right. And yeah, it may not make her popular, and I see it now. It's going to be a problem later on. But yeah, I'm not going to buy into that. I'm not going to encourage that. I don't like that idea. You're teaching your kids the wrong things. I'm not here to show you how affluent my family is by buying you all presents on my daughter's birthday. Now, I'm ready to share the love and let her come to school and celebrate with you, because that's what she wants to do. She wants to have a party and she wants to have people there, and the only way to guarantee that is to do it while she's at school, because the kids have to go to school. But you see what I'm saying? We get attached to complaining. We get attached to this lack mentality, and it only attracts more of that same lack, and you don't need that in your life. It's hard. I've been struggling with it for a while now, but it's knowing is half the battle, and I'm consciously working towards changing that. I don't know how successful I'll be on a daily basis, but it's like, I'll take each battle as it comes and see what I can do about it. And sometimes I win and sometimes I lose. Sometimes when I miss someone, I get angry, and I'd rather cut you off than just be patient. I would rather be by myself than have to deal with a relationship, because I don't want to miss anyone. I don't want to go through that feeling of loss. I've lost so many people in my life. I'm used to feeling alone, but what's worse is when you get used to feeling part of a team and then you lose that team feeling. It's devastating. It's almost like grief all over again when you lose a loved one. It's difficult for me. Excuse me. Wow, that was super random. But I hope that makes sense. It's been quite the struggle, and no, I'm not trying to cut myself off from the rest of the world. Um, but it is part of my twin flame ascension. It is bringing up a lot of childhood situations that I need to heal for myself, because while I'm not angry about those situations, they still hurt me. They still are difficult to talk about. Maybe because I've just put them aside instead of accepting them, but it's still quite the struggle. um, that was super deep tonight. I'm sorry. I'm hoping I didn't move anyone to tears or upset anybody. This is something I'm going through. I don't know where you are in your struggle. I don't know where you are in your spiritual journey. But there will come a time where this will occur to you and you will wonder, and hopefully you will learn to keep yourself open to other ways to handle things. We get very set in our ways to handle stuff. We get very, accustomed to using odd numbers instead of even numbers or vice versa. Like little things like that, you get very used to it. When you find yourself contemplating these things, the best thing you can do, if you're trying really hard to manifest something, or if you're trying really hard to get over like the feeling of something that's upsetting you, that's hurting you, the best thing you can do is distract yourself. Get busy doing something that you love. And yes, your mind will work overtime in the background. That's fine, as long as you can watch your thoughts while you're doing something you love. So if it's art for you, Ivina, I know you're listening. If it's art for you, lose yourself in your art. If it becomes too easy for you to just paint and not think about it, but your mind is still going, learn a new art form. Learn a new craft. Go take up knitting, sewing, crocheting, whatever it is, cross stitch. Learn something new where you have to focus on the details of learning, and hopefully that will kind of quiet your mind a little bit. It does help. It really helps. I don't know. I think it was major revelation for me tonight. And it's funny because I was trying really hard to wake up and I couldn't wake up. And finally I looked at the clock and I was like, you know what, if I don't do it now, chances are I won't wake up till morning, and I would have missed my first podcast in 144 episodes. So I'm glad. As I started off this podcast, my eyes were closed. I was leaning against the headboard in my room and talking to you about what I know. And I was trying really hard not to fall back asleep. I was trying really hard to make sure that I still made sense, thinking very consciously of, what are the points I wanted to make. Because I have a history of, starting in one place, going on a tangent, telling 3 stories, ended up somewhere else. Like I started at A, ended up at D somewhere. But I think I did a pretty good job this evening. I'm kind of wide awake now that I'm talking about it. I think I kept to the theme. I think I kept to the 2 points that I wanted to make, which is expectations and then attachment. Think about it. Let me know what you feel. Write to me. Let's start a conversation here. To have comments under a podcast is important to me, because then I can see how it is that I'm affecting you. If I'm actually truly giving you value for the content that I'm creating. I'm not creating this in an effort to create content by any means. I'm doing this to kind of chronicle my journey for myself, because at some point I'm probably going to want to quit. At some point my daughter's going to want to start something and she won't know where to begin. And she will think that, oh, what do you know, oh woman, this is a different situation. I'm in a different generation, blah, blah, blah. But she can then go back and look at all of these and think, you know what, okay, the struggles are generally the same. The tools will change with technology, but the struggles are basically the same. So the content that I create, or the information I put out there, is based on my own life, my own opinions. You're more than welcome to dispute them, to debate them with me, to offer your own opinions. I would love to hear your opinions. But for me, in my opinion, comments lead to a thread, which means anyone else who's listening can join in the conversation, can find that it's not just me talking about this that feels this way. If you've entered in a comment that kind of echoes my same, my same struggles, my same fears, then other people can see that it's not just me, it's more than one person, and it builds a community that way, and that's actually what I'm about. The brand Rasatha is to build a community. I want us all to come together. I want us all to feel safe enough to explain or express ourselves without fear of judgment or rejection, in an environment where we can just happily share opinions. You don't have to be the same as me. I will still love you. I hope that makes sense. I hope that helped you a little bit tonight. It is like 1:30 now, and I should probably get to bed because I still have responsibilities I need to get up for in the morning. So I do love you guys. I do hope you'll reach out. Be brave. You don't have to give me your life story in the comments. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you face something different. Tell me it doesn't make sense. Anything. Have a conversation with me. Be brave. All right? All right, well, until the next time, I will catch you again tomorrow. Take care. Bye.